Welcome to another live PEP class. Today is Friday. We should be doing our curriculum-based test, but because the PEP ability test is fast approaching, we have decided to focus on that. And so today we're going to be completing the students' the students camp workbook 4. We're going to do the second half of that workbook, so questions 21 to 40. That's what we'll be doing this evening. Before we go into that, here's the schedule of live classes. Please make notes so you can know when we do what and so you don't miss any of the classes. Hello CSEC math students, I know you are busy preparing for your math tests and your CSEC exams coming up. I have a very important question to ask you. Do you like my new hat? Thank you. Now another important question. Have you ever gotten a math problem wrong simply because of making one little mistake? I'm sure you have, as thousands of other students have. Now in this series we're going to be looking at the common mistakes that students make with all the topics in CSEC math. We're going to look at the common errors, demystify everything, make sure you watch every video in this series so that you can avoid making those mistakes. So stay tuned. Hello scholars, did you know that most times when students get problems wrong in mathematics is as a result of one single error or one mistake? Well, this is absolutely true, and we're going to be looking at the common errors that students make in the different topics in mathematics. If we know the errors beforehand, we can certainly avoid making them. Are you ready? Come on, take my hand. All right, guys, so we're going to plow through the questions now. Of course, I have some scholars waiting backstage, and I'm going to be inviting them now to join me. As usual, I appreciate their company. All right, so let me see. Let me run back and see who is there. John, stop showing off about easy question again. Stop showing off. John Amari, welcome. Antoine, welcome. Jaden, welcome. Madison, welcome.
Hi, Miss.
Why are you such a show-off, child?
Miss, I'm not a show off, Mrs. The questions are just easy.
Oh, hello there. Yeah,
What are
you're
the
sure.
Very much.
No.
Isn't he a show-off?
Very much.
Definitely is.
Yes, he's a show-off.
Very much,
the
Miss.
questions.
Big show-off.
Right. You see what I'm saying? All right, so we have 20 questions. 20 questions to do. Hold on, just give me a minute. So let's dive into it. Like I said yesterday, you're going to see some questions that we did already, but most of them are new questions. So the booklets were revised for this year. All right, so let me share the screen so we can get into it. Hi, I'm Shania. Welcome to those joining on the chat, in the chat from whichever media you're from. Welcome, and please participate by sharing your answers, your questions, your comments. All right. Coleman, hello. Shania wants a shout out. Shout out to Shania. Sing. Shout out. And let me post the link. I know you're all going to be asking for the link right about now. So here it is. Hello, Maroda. Sure, you can join Coleman. There's the link. Just follow the link. All right, so it's a PEP Student Camp 2022. And these are revised booklets. We've been through all 4 booklets that were released last year and were distributed to the PEP students, those preparing for PEP, whether grade 4, 5, or 6. And they have been revised. So we're going through the revised booklets because we want to stay on top of things. We want to know that we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So we're picking up at question 21. And we're at the artificial language. And it says, artificial language is a fun way to use a set of letters or an invented language to determine the meaning of other words in the language. So artificial language is a fun way to use a set of letters or an invented language to determine the meaning of other words in the language. All right, so let's start with Amari. Please read what's on the screen.
Miss, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Miss. The words in bold come from the language spoken on a newly discovered planet. Look at the meaning of each word, then answer question 21. The words in bold come from the language spoken on a newly discovered planet. Look at the meaning of each word, then answer question 1. Question 21. Weather station, Beef Huns, weather instrument, Beef Filk, wind speed, Bemt Sun, wind direction, Bemt Zegi, weather station, Bath Hum, weather instrument, Beef Filk, wind speed, Bemt Zan, wind direction, Bemt Zegi. Miss, I'm finished. Miss, I'm already in the next one.
I don't know, sir. Are you?
Go off.
So what you say, Amari?
Miss, can you please repeat?
Have you decided on an answer?
No, Miss.
Excuse me, miss. Is it bent?
Yes, Miss, it's
Bent filk.
Hold on. But I didn't show you the options, right?
Yes, well, Miss,
Mm,
So
Yes,
those
that's
are the
what I was
options.
saying.
Yes, yes, I can see.
All right. So what did you say, Jaden?
Ben Phil.
bent filk.
And explain why.
Because bent means wind and filk means instrument based on the table.
All right. So that is correct. All right, so let's go to the next slide. All right, John, so read that one for me, please.
Kimani and Kayla made a special alphabet, which they used to send messages to each other. Use the special alphabet to find the answers. Question 22 to 24.
All right, so
Kimani
look at
and
the.
Kayla,
Go ahead, go ahead.
Kimani and Kayla made a special alphabet, which they used to message each other. Use the special alphabet to find the answers. Questions 22 to 24.
All right, so Madison, read 22 to 24 for me.
Okay, miss. Mountain range in Jamaica. 23. Which plain is found in St. Elizabeth? 24. Which landform is surrounded by land? 22. Which is the highest mountain range in Jamaica? 23. Which plain is found in St. Elizabeth? 24. Which landform is surrounded by land?
All right, so if we look at 22, so it's 4 symbols. So these are the symbols. And if we go back, so it started with the what's that? A circle with a little line, and then the 2 strokes, and the clock and the W. So the W, that's E, the clock is U, this is B, and this is L. So BLUE. So that would be Blue Mountains. So let me see who got that one. All right, so Madison said blue. Only one answer for that one? Okay, so Coleman is saying he's in grade 4. Well, you're welcome. From grade 4, 5, 6, you're welcome. You can start.
Miss, I also say blue. I also say blue.
Okay. And we should know that too, right? But we still have to base it on the actual table, not just what we know to be true, but base, because remember, this is artificial language, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the answer is true. So 23, which plane is found in St. Elizabeth? So it starts with the triangle, W, beta, Z, and rho. So the triangle, that's P, and the W is E, and beta is D. All right, so what you guys say? What are you saying for this one? These planes are in St. Elizabeth. Antoine says the Pedro Plains. Madison says Pedro Plains. That's what I got when I spelled it out as well. So Pedro, that's for 23. And 24, which landform is surrounded by land. So we know it's going to start with, so this symbol and end with an E. So look carefully. I really should have put the symbols on the same page, but it starts with an L, then this symbol, then the K, and it ends with an E. And we do know the water body is surrounded by land. What are you saying for that one? Okay, so lake is correct. Lake. Lake is a body of water completely surrounded by land. The success criteria for the artificial language, we should be able to say, I can decode messages by identifying patterns and reading symbols. I can decode messages by identifying patterns and reading symbols. Antoine, please read.
Yes, miss. Logical deduction involves using evidence to support a conclusion that is given or drawing a conclusion based on evidence that is presented. Read the extract and answer question 25. Logical deduction involves using evidence to support a conclusion that is given or drawing a conclusion based on evidence that is presented. Read the, read the extract and answer question 25.
All right. Amari,
Okay, miss. Read read to correct the extract and
extract.
answer. Yes, miss. Read the extract and answer question 25. Letter from Christopher Columbus, 1493. 33 days after leaving Cadiz,
Cadiz.
Cadiz, Cadiz, I reached the Indian Seas where I discovered many islands with hundreds of people. I quickly captured the islands in the name of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabel and planted the Spanish flag. The indigenous people did not resist. Read the extract and answer question 25. Letter from Christopher Columbus. 1493, 33 days after leaving Cadiz, I reached the Indian Sea, where I discovered many islands with hundreds of people. I quickly captured the islands in the name of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabel, and planted the Spanish flag. The indigenous people did not resist. Miss, I'm finished.
All right. Thank you, Amari. John, 25.
Damage number 25. Which of the following conclusions is correct? Number 25. Which of the following conclusions is correct? A. There were no people living on the island when Christopher Columbus arrived. B. The people that Christopher Columbus met on the islands were aggressive. C. Christopher Columbus did not discover the islands. D. Christopher Columbus claimed the islands for himself. 25. Which of the following conclusions is correct? There were no people living on the islands when Christopher Columbus arrived. B. The people that Christopher Columbus met on the island were aggressive. C. Christopher Columbus did not discover the islands. D. Christopher Columbus claimed the islands for himself.
What would you say, John?
Yes. These are oh,
Hmm?
it's easy question, right?
We say this one is tough.
No, miss, because there are people living on the island when Christopher Columbus arrived, miss, and they weren't aggressive, and he did discover the island, miss, but he didn't claim them for himself. I thought it was just
All right, let me hear what the other scholars are saying.
yes.
So that's number 25, right? All right, what are the other scholars saying for number 25? John says he doesn't see any of them that is correct.
This, well, I would say that, but I'm not really so sure about it either.
Well, let me hear what you're thinking.
So, since every one of them, since A says there were no people living on the island when Christopher Columbus arrived, but there were people on the island when Christopher Columbus arrived.
Mm-hmm.
B, so it's practically saying every opposite thing. All the responses are saying the opposite thing about the passage saying about Christopher Columbus.
Okay. Does anyone see any statement there that is
Miss
that could go with
Miss
Miss,
the?
I
I say
I
D. I say D.
What does D say, Madison?
Christopher Columbus claimed the island for himself.
Is that true?
Miss, I
Miss
think
I
so.
It said that
C or D.
he claimed it for King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella in their name for
Oh,
Spain.
then Miss, I'd say C.
All right. So the answer is C because you can't discover an island that has people living there. You can't discover something that people already lived in. They are the ones, the people living there were the ones who discovered it. So to discover something is to find something that no one has found before. So Christopher Columbus did not discover these islands because there were already people living there. So it's untrue to say that he discovered them. So that is the one that is the answer 5C. Jaden, but you know I should be marking the answers. Jaden, read this please.
Okay, miss. Read the paragraph below and answer question 26. Wait, uh, It's really, it's really blurry.
You're not able to see it?
It's like can't see, but it's just really blurry.
All right, let me ask someone else. Maybe they can see better. Madison, can you see the screen?
Yes, Miss, I can.
All right, read it for me, please.
Provision grounds were areas of land often of poor quality, mountainous or stony, and often at some distance from the villages, which plantation owners set aside for enslaved Africans to grow their own food, such as sweet potatoes, yams, and plantains. In addition to using the produce to supplement their own diet, slaves sold or exchanged it, as well as livestock such as chickens or pigs in local markets. Provision grounds were areas of land often of poor quality, mountainous or stony, and often at some distance from the villages, which plantation owners set aside for the enslaved Africans to grow their own food, such as sweet potatoes, yams, and plantains. In addition to using the produce to supplement their own diets, slaves sold or exchanged it, as well as livestock such as chickens or pigs in local markets.
Okay. Jaden, is that one any better for you?
Yes, miss.
Okay.
Okay. Number 26. Which of the following statements support the conclusion? The enslaved Africans were industrious. Number 26. Which of the following statements support the conclusion the enslaved Africans were industrious? A. Provision grounds given to the enslaved Africans were fertile. The enslaved Africans had to travel long distances
Infertile.
infertile. The enslaved Africans had to travel long distances to, to the provision grounds. The enslaved Africans grew their own food and made money from the
What
provision
about the
grounds.
letters, Jaden?
And D.
What about the letters?
The pro-
I've not been reading the letters.
this is- and D. The provision grounds were given to the enslaved Africans by the plantation owner. A. The provision grounds given to the enslaved Africans were infertile. B. Enslaved Africans had to travel long distances to the provision grounds. C. The enslaved Africans grew their own food and made money from the provision grounds. Or D. The provision grounds were given to the enslaved Africans by the plantation owner. Yes, I would say C.
Read what
The
C.
enslaved Africans grew their own food and made money from the provision grounds
All right.
because it said in the passage that's what they do. And
But the question is, does it support the conclusion that they are industrious?
yes,
What does the word industrious mean?
Miss,
What does the word industrious mean? Antoine?
Miss, the word industrious means hard work.
Right. So industrious means hard working, putting out all the right. So they grew their own food and they made money from the provision grounds. That is indicative that they're industrious. The success criteria, I can draw logical conclusions based on evidence presented. All right. John, can you read the screen, please?
Speak up. Quantitative reasoning. Pattern involves identifying, generating, and describing patterns in a given sequence. Sometimes it requires completing or extending the pattern in a given sequence. Quantitative reasoning. Patterning involves identifying, generating, and describing.
Try again, John.
Okay. Quantitative reasoning. Patterning involves identifying, generating, and describing patterns in a given sequence. Sometimes it requires completing or extending the pattern in a given sequence. Quantitative reasoning. Patterning involves identifying, generating, and describing patterns in a given sequence. Sometimes it requires completing or extending the pattern in a given sequence.
All right. So we're familiar with this. We saw this map in the last. So the purple or dark pink areas mean cold, yellow means warm, and green means hot. So look at those areas. Cold would be these areas. Warm would be the yellow, and green would be the hot. All right, Madison number 27.
27. Which of the following is correct? A. Warm countries are closest to the equator and cold countries are closest to the poles. B. Hot countries are closest to the equator and cold countries are closest to the poles. C. Cold countries are closest to the poles and warm countries are closest to the equator. D. Warm countries are closest to the poles and hot countries are closest to the equator. 27. Which of the following is correct? A. Warm countries are closest to the equator and cold countries are closest to the poles. B. Hot countries are closest to the equator and cold countries are closest to the poles. C. Cold countries are closest to the poles and warm countries are closest to the equator. Or D. Warm countries are closest to the poles and hot countries are closest to the equator.
All right, what do you say for that one?
I say B. Hot countries are closest to the equator and cold countries are closest to the poles.
Miss, I agree.
All right, that is correct. I'm hearing an echo, and I'm trying to identify the source of it. um, each person has only one device on. That's
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss.
what's
I only have one.
happening. Only one device.
Yes, miss. Only one.
Yes, miss.
Alright. Jana and Amara, what happened?
As they were kicked off. Pretty sure. Because they just
Miss, I
disappeared.
couldn't hear you properly, so I rejoined. I couldn't hear you properly.
All right, let's continue and see if the it seems like the issue has resolved itself. Well, hopefully. Antoine, 28.
Yes, miss. 28. Which of the following completes the sequence? 0 degrees, 15 degrees west, 5 degrees east, 30 degrees west, 10 degrees east, 45 degrees west, 15 degrees east, and 60 degrees west. A. 30 degrees east, 75 degrees west. B. 20 degrees east and 45 degrees west. C. 45 degrees east and 90 degrees west. And D. 20 degrees east and 75 degrees west. Question 28. Which of the following completes the sequence? 0 degrees, 15 degrees, 5 degrees east, 30 degrees west, 10 degrees east, 45 degrees west, 15 degrees east, 60 degrees west. A. 30 degrees east, 75 degrees west. B is 20 degrees east, 45 degrees west. C. 45 degrees east, 90 degrees west. And D. 20 degrees east and 75 degrees west.
What's the pattern there? What are they doing each time? What are they doing each time?
Miss, I would say that they're going up by 15.
Right across the board for the first one and the second one?
No, miss.
So what are they doing each time?
Miss, I say they're going up. So for the first one,
The
they're
first
going
one
up
is going up by what?
15.
The first one?
No, miss, 5. The
The
first one
first
is
one is going up by 5. And the
at
second one is going up by what?
15.
Okay, so the last pair given was 15 degrees east, 60 degrees west. So what should it be now then? If the first
Miss,
one is going up by 5 and the second one by 15.
Miss D, 20 degrees east and 75 degrees west.
Correct, because we're going to add 5 to the 15, and that gives 20. And we add 15 to the 60, and that gives 75. So that's D. All right. The success criteria for that batch is we should be able to say, I can identify a pattern, I can complete a pattern. I can identify what the pattern is, and I can complete the missing terms in the pattern. Madison?
Okay, miss.
Representing quantities involves making sense of quantities, understanding the meaning of quantities, not just compute them, and using a variety of ways to create a coherent representation of a problem. Missy, you want me to read it again?
Yes, please.
Representing quantities involves making sense of quantities, understanding the meaning of quantities, not just compute them, and using a variety of ways to create a coherent representation of a problem.
All right. So 29. Can Amari read this for me?
Okay, miss. Miss, give me a second, please. I can't see the word. Which continent is largest? A. South America. B. A. South America, 17.8 million square kilometers. B. North America, 24.5 million square kilometers. Asia, 44.6 million square kilometers. Africa, 30 million square kilometers.
Why are you scholars neglecting to read the letters? All right, go
Oh,
again.
okay, miss. Number 29. Which continent is the largest? A. South America, 17.8 million square kilometers. B. North America, 24.5 million square kilometers. C. Asia, 44.6 million square kilometers. D. Africa, 30 million square kilometers. Miss, my answer is C. Asia, 44.6 million square kilometers, miss.
All right, that is clearly that is the biggest of the numbers. All right, John, number 30.
Yes. Number 30. Which ocean is the deepest?
The is
The
the
deep
what?
is the
Okay.
deepest. A. Pacific, 3,970 meters. B. Atlantic Ocean, 3,646 meters. C. Indian Ocean, 3,741 meters. D. South Ocean,
Southern,
327 meters.
southern.
Southern Ocean, 3,270 meters. Number 30. Which ocean is the deepest? A. Pacific Ocean, 3,970 meters. B. Atlantic Ocean, 3,646 meters. C. Indian Ocean, 3,741 meters. D. Southern Ocean, 3,270 meters. Which I would say is the Pacific Ocean, 3,970 meters.
All right, that's correct, John. Pacific Ocean is the.
All of the
All right, so Madison said Pacific Ocean. Antoine, Shelley, and of course, Amari, Pacific. All right, so let me check if there's anyone waiting backstage. So we have some scholars waiting backstage. All right, so oh dear, what? All right, so John and Amar, I'm going to ask you to wait. I'm going to welcome Shelly and Madison. I'm going to ask you to wait backstage, and I'm going to welcome Zamar. Scholars, make sure your mics are working properly, or you won't be able to participate. So always check your mic, make sure they're working properly. Shalicia, welcome. Can you say?
Yes, miss.
I told you welcome.
Thank you, miss. It was lagging, that's why.
Okay, Zamar, good evening, welcome. Coleman, good evening, welcome.
Good evening. Are you hearing?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's continue. So we're at the map. We're asked to look at the relief map of Jamaica and answer questions 31 and 32. So our relief map shows the landforms, the mountains, the rivers, the lakes, the plains, and so on. And for the map key here, so the black triangle tells us that's the mountain peak, and the orangish, the pale orange color, that's 500 meters and above. The pinkish color is 200 meters, and the green is 0 to 100 meters above sea level. All right, Antoine, 31.
Okay, miss. Question 31. Which mountain has the lowest peak? A. Holy Mount. B. Blue Mountain Peak. C. John de Bolas Mountain. And D.
One de Bolas.
Okay, miss. One de Bolas Mountains and D. Mile Gully Mountain. Question 31. Which mountain has the lowest peak? A. Hollow Mountain. B. Blue Mountain Peak. C. One de Bolas Mountains. And D. Mile Gully Mountain.
So let's look back at the map. So we're looking for Holly Mount, Blue Mountain Peak, One de Bolas, and Mile Gully. So, and it's the lowest one they want. So that means we'll be looking for which one is in the green. Or we can also look at the meters beside. Are you able to say for this one, Antoine?
No, miss, the scale, not but the measurement for each mountain looks very.
All right, so I'll just tell you the answer for this one. The lowest peak would be the One de Bolas Mountains. All right, so you would have had the map to look. So what you'll be looking for is the actual measurement in meters to make the comparison, or looking at the colors, so you'll be able to see closely, more closely, which has the green, which of these mountains instead has the green. All right. Okay, Shalicia, number 32.
Okay, miss. Question 32. Which statement is correct? Question 32. Which statement is correct? A. Most of the highlands are along the coastline. B. Most of the lowlands are along the coastline. C. The highest mountains are in the western section of the island. D. There is more lowland on the north coast than on the south coast. A. Most of the highlands are along the coastline. B. Most of the lowlands are along the coastline. C. The highest mountains are in the western section of the island. D. There is more lowland on the north coast than on the south coast.
All right. Okay, so what do you say for that one? And remember, when you're writing the answers, please put the number that you're answering. Anyone has an answer for this one? Jaden, I'm going to ask you to wait backstage and allow Rodriguez to join. No answers for this one? Welcome, Rodriguez. Rodriguez, good evening. All right, so let's look at this question again. So let's see. All right, so if we look at the map, most of the highlands are along the coastline. Let's look at that. Most of the highlands are along the coastline. So if we can see the highland, the green is the lowlands, and it's actually the lowland areas that are along the coastline. See that? So A is not correct. It's actually the lowland areas that run along the coastline. So then B says most of the lowlands are along the coastline. So this one would be correct. It would be B. Jaden, please read.
Okay. Compare quantities involves comparing numbers, fractional, whole, or decimal to determine which is more, less, or equal. But it also involves comparing quantities based on their mass, length, temperature, or capacity. Comparing quantities involves numbers, fractional,
Comparing
whole, or
numbers.
decimal. Comparing numbers, fractional, whole, or decimal to determine which is more, less, or equals. It also involves comparing quantity based on their mass, length, temperature, or capacity.
All right. So we're at number 33. Okay, Zamar, please. Sorry, not Zamar. Coleman, please read number 23.
Okay. The Rio Grande River is 34.3 kilometers long. Which river is longer than the Rio Grande? A. Plantain Garden, 34.9 kilometers. B. Buff Bay, 22.2 kilometers. C. Martha Brae, 32.5 kilometers. And D. White River, 27.4 kilometers.
Please read it again.
The Rio Grande River is 34.3 kilometers long. Which river is longer than the Rio Grande? A. Plantain Garden, 34.9 kilometers. B. Buff Bay, 22.2 kilometers. C. Martha Brae, 32.5 kilometers. And D. White River, 27.4 kilometers. The Rio Grande River is 34.3 kilometers long. Which river is longer than the Rio Grande? A. Plantain Garden, 34.9 kilometers. B. Buff Bay, 22.2 kilometers. C. Martha Bay, 32.5 kilometers. And D. White River, 27.4 kilometers.
So what do you say?
Repeat again.
Um, I believe it would be Plantain Garden.
What letter?
30.
Okay, why
A
do
plantain,
you say
I
that?
would say it is a Plantain Garden, 34.9 kilometers. Because 34.9 is kilometers is more kilometers than 34.3 kilometers long.
That is correct. All right. So we go now to this table, and it says, look at the pie charts showing ethnic groups in Trinidad and Jamaica and answer question 34. So this pie chart shows the ethnic groups in Trinidad. The blue are blacks, the orange mixed, the gray East Indians, and the yellow other. So blue, blacks, orange mixed, gray East Indians, yellow others. And the ethnic groups in Jamaica, the same key. So they wanted to make a comparison. All right, so look at the questions now. Shalicia, 34.
Okay, miss. Question 34. Which ethnic group has a larger percentage in Jamaica than in Trinidad? Number 34. Which ethnic group has a larger percentage in Jamaica than in Trinidad? A. Blacks, B. East Indian, C. Mixed, D. Other. A. Blacks, B. East Indian, C. Mixed, D. Other.
So let's go back to the chart. They want to know which of the ethnic groups has a larger percentage in Jamaica than in Trinidad. Which is it? So remember, B for blacks, orange for mixed, gray for East Indians, and yellow for other. So which one has a larger percentage in Jamaica than in Trinidad? What do you say, Shalicia? And let me see what other scholars are saying for this one. All right, so Madison says blacks. Alicia says blacks. Zamar blacks. Antoine blacks. Coleman blacks. All right, so everybody seems to agree on this one. And that is correct. So let's move on to the next question. The success criteria would have been, I can solve problems using quantities, and I can compare quantities. I can solve problems using quantities, and I can compare quantities. All right, Antoine, please read.
Okay, miss. Estimation involves using approximation estimation to solve real world and mathematical problems. Estimation involves using approximation estimation to solve real world and mathematical problems.
All right, so we're going to see some questions where we're asked to estimate, right? All right, J number 35.
Okay, miss. Number 35, miss?
Yes, number 35.
Okay, miss. Number 35. Which water body takes up almost 50% of the makes up almost 50% of the world's oceans? Number 5. Which water body makes up almost 50% of the world's oceans? A. Indian Ocean, 19.5%. B. Pacific Ocean, 46.6%. C. Atlantic Ocean, 23.3%. Or D. Southern Ocean, 6.1%. A. Indian Ocean, 19.5%. B. Pacific Ocean, 46.6%. C. Atlantic Ocean, 23.3%. Or D. Southern Ocean, 6.1%. As I would say B. Pacific Ocean, 46.6%.
All right, that is correct because we can round this off to 50%. 6.6 can be rounded to 50. All right. The success criteria for this set, I can use estimation to solve problems using quantities. Estimation to solve problems using quantities. Coleman, can you read what's on this, please?
One minute, miss.
Okay.
Data analysis involves sorting data based on the characteristics. It also requires reading, interpreting,
Interpreting.
interpreting and making inferences from data presented in tables or graphs.
Again.
Data analysis involves sorting data based on characteristics. It also requires reading, interpreting, and making inferences from data presented in tables and or graphs. Data analysis.
Just all right. So, and we're asked to look carefully at the table and answer questions 36-7. So, table 1 shows 30-year average 1971 to 2000 for selected rainfall stations, and the measurements are in millimeters. So, table 1 shows a 30-year average 2000 for selected rainfall stations, and the readings are in millimeters. Which were used in this survey: Portland, Clarendon, St. Mary, St. Catherine, and the rainfall station in Portland was Milbank. The station in Clarendon was Salt Savannah. The station in St. Mary was Langley, and the station in St. Catherine was Bernard Lodge. So take a minute and study the pattern of the rainfall measured at these stations. And the months that they were recorded were from January to August. So let's look at question. One, number 36.
Okay, miss. Question 36. Which rainfall station received the most rainfall over the period? A. Bernal Lodge, B. Langley, C. Millbank, D. South Savannah. Question 36. Which rainfall station received the most rainfall over the period? A. Bernal Lodge, B. Langley, C. Millbank, and D. South Savannah.
Which one received the most rainfall?
Miss, I say Millbank.
Bank, Millbank for 5 of the months. You see that? For 5 of the months, it's in the 400s, and the others are nowhere near that. So 40s, 50s, 30s, 40s, right? So bank is down here. So you're correct. It's C, Millbank. Jaden, 37. Is Jaden no longer here? Jaden got booted out. All right. It seems Jaden got kicked out. All right, Madison, you want to take this answer for me? This question for me?
True. The higher the weather station, the more rainfall it receives. B. The higher the weather station, the less rainfall it receives. C. The lower the weather station, the more rainfall it receives. D. The height of the weather station does not affect the amount of rainfall it receives. 17. Which of the following is true? A. The higher the weather station, the more rainfall it receives. B. The higher the weather station, the less rainfall it receives. C. The lower the weather station, the more rainfall it receives. D. The height of the weather station does not affect the amount of rainfall it receives. Miss, I would say A. The higher the weather station, the more rainfall it receives.
All right, so this is the height above sea level, and Millbank is the highest, right? 182, and we did say Millbank got the highest amount of rainfall, so that is correct. So it's A, the higher the weather station, the more rainfall it receives. And the success criteria, we should be able to say, I can read and interpret data presented in tables. I can read and interpret data presented in tables. All right, Shalicia, are you able to see this slide? Coleman, can you read for me?
Um, problem Problem solving involves using mathematical knowledge and skills to solve real world mathematical problems. It requires making sense of problems, reasoning abstractly, and quanti- quantitatively, and using mathematical models to interpret and solve problems.
Please read it again, Coleman.
Sure. Problem solving involves using mathematical knowledge and skills to solve real world mathematical problems. It requires making sense of problems, reasoning abstractly, and using quantitatively and quan- quantitatively and
Quantitatively.
quantitatively and using mathematical models to interpret and solve problems.
All right, thank you, Coleman. Jer, can you hear me?
Yes, miss.
All right, I'm going to ask you to read the next question. We're going to look at the graph first. So this is the graph for the table that was just shown. So we have Millbank, we have Bernard Lodge, we have Langley, and we have Salt. Question 38, please, Jer.
Okay, miss. 38. Which of the following areas would be least likely to depend on rainfall to water crops? 38. Which of the following areas would be least likely to depend on rainfall to water crops? A. Bernard Lodge, B. Langley, C. Millbank, D. Salt Savannah. A. Bernard Lodge, B. Langley, C. Millbank, D. Salt Savannah.
All right, so which of them would be least likely to rely on rainfall to water their crops?
Millbank,
Why do you say Millbank?
miss, because they have a large average amount of rainfall, miss. So they
Okay.
would depend on it.
So if they know they're going to get lots of rain, wouldn't they be able to depend on the rainfall for their crops?
No, miss, it would be of a depend because they know that it will be coming because of their they know that it will be coming, so they wouldn't depend on it. Like
If
you
they
would say
know it's
Bernard.
coming, if they know it's coming, they can depend on it. Which one would the reasoning be? If they know they're going to get, they're sure they're going to get rain, would they not be able to depend on the rain to water their crops? Let me see what the other scholars are saying. Okay, so what do you say? Um, Let me hear what the other scholars are saying. Which of the reasoning you go with? If they get a lot of rain and they know it's bound to fall soon because they get lots of rain right throughout the months, would they be able to rely on rain to water their crops? Or is it that if they don't get a lot of rain, they would be able to rely on the rain to water their crops? What do you say, scholars? Oh, everybody's so quiet this evening. What happened?
Miss, can you repeat that? You're lagging on my end.
Oh, I was lagging.
Yes,
Um,
Miss, on my end.
okay, so Jerry is saying, in answer to this question, the question says, which of the places would be least likely to depend on rain to water their crops? And Jerry is saying Millbank because they get lots of rain. So do you agree with Jer that because Millbank gets lots of rain, they would be least likely to depend on rain? Coleman is agreeing. Coleman is saying Millbank. Um, Everybody is saying Millbank. Coleman changed it
No,
to,
miss, that was for a different question.
oh, I see. That's why I keep telling you, you have to put the number when you're answering the question. So for
Miss?
38, what do we say? Is it Millbank?
No,
Because,
Miss.
what do you say, Antoine?
Bernard Lodge.
Why?
Because since can we go back to the graph
Sure.
just to make sure?
So this is Salt Savannah, this is Langley, this is Bernard Lodge, this is Millbank. Which one would be least likely to depend on rainfall for their crops?
I think it would be Bernard Lodge.
I
Why?
agree because
Because
Bernard.
Bernard Lodge has the least rainfall, so they wouldn't be able to depend on rain because they there wouldn't be much rain. There isn't much rain at their place, so they would have to get more. They would have to find other sources of water for their crops.
And what do you say, Antoine?
Miss, I agree because Bernard Lodge is the smallest rain population there. So
Okay,
they would have to depend on other sources of water.
right. So because they know they hardly get any rain, if they're to plant crops, then they're going to have to think of other sources, as Coleman and Antoine are saying. Jer, do you still think it's Millbank?
Miss, I don't know, but the more I think about it the other way, I'm leaning to that option, Miss.
All right, so the answer is Bernard Lodge. And the logic given by Antoine and Coleman is sound logic. If you know you're not going to get enough rain based on the pattern in your area, then you're going to have to make provisions to get water from other sources. If you know you get lots of rain, ton load of rain, every month you get rain, then you can depend on that. All right? We have 2 questions to go. So Antoine, 39, please.
Okay, Miss. Question 39. Which month would be best for cleaning drains? A. March, B. May, C. June, and D. August. 39. Which month would be the best for cleaning drains? A. March, B. May, and C. June, and D. August.
All right, so which one would be best for cleaning the drains?
Miss, can you go back to the graph?
Sure. So the blue is January, and then the other months follow. So January, February. So that's January, February, March.
For all of the months, I say March.
All right, what makes you say March?
Since there are less rainfall in March, there is less rainfall in March, so that's why.
All right, so if we look at March, for all the months, March is low, because even the ones that are low in some places, like January, February, they are high in other places, but March is relatively low. So we would clean the drains when there is less rain. That's the best time to clean the drains. We wouldn't clean it when the gullies are full of water, right? We'd clean it when the gullies are dry and empty. Madame Legende?
Miss, are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you. Welcome. You have the honor of reading the very
Thank
last
you.
question.
Okay. Miss,
Right. So I'll give you the honor of reading the very last question, but we're asked to look at the graph first.
okay,
The,
Miss. I'll read the instructions.
okay.
Look carefully at figure 1 and answer question 40. Figure 1, composition of waste.
All right. I'm almost certain in this here because I
Yes,
can do
Miss.
it. So let me tell you what it is. So the gray is compostable. That means things that you can put in your compost heap, right? And the orange is paper, and the pale blue, no, the gray is plastic. So pale blue, compostables, orange paper, plastic, yellow glass, and the dark blue is other. So this one here is compostables. This is paper, plastic, glass, and other. Compostables, paper, plastic, glass, other. All right, Legende, please read question 14.
Number 40. Which would be the most effective way to reduce the amount of waste going to the dump? A. Recycle plastic bottles. B. Recycle paper. C. Reuse glass bottles. D. Establish composting centers. Number 40. Which would be the most effective way to reduce the amount of waste going to the dump? A. Recycle plastic bottles. B. Recycle paper. C. Reuse glass bottles. D. Establish composting centers. Miss, establish means open, right? Or
Right, to set them up.
so Miss, I would choose D. Cause if you like establish
What does this?
composting, D. Establish composting centers. Because if you like establish composting centers, that means like people instead of they put they throw their trash in the dump, they can just go to established center and you know what they say. You know what they say: recycle and reuse.
Correct. And it is compostable, so
Yes,
you
miss.
get rid of that. So that is correct on the success criteria to solve real world problems. I can use mathematical skills of real world problems. And we have come to the end of workbook 4, part 2, the last 20 questions. So next week, again, we're going to do mainly ability tests. I want to make sure you guys, those students who are going to see the PEP ability test in just over a week, I want to make sure that you are very well prepared. All right. So where the days on the days that we would have performance tasks, we're going to have ability tests. And the days that we would have ability tests, we're going to have ability tests, right?
Miss, you see, why I came on late is because when you send the link, I didn't see the link. I didn't hear like the notification come up. I didn't see the link. I was like, I don't even. It's like I don't even remember. So today is Friday. It's
Oh,
like
really?
yes, my head's like, you
You
know
don't
what?
remember
It's
that
a
today?
normal day. Class starts 7 o'clock. I was like, when
Oh,
my mother showed me the link, I was like, Jesus Christ! Online class at 4:30.
Legende, why are you swearing on the program? Remember, yesterday I reminded you that the Friday class starts at 4:30, not 6. I gave out that reminder yesterday. You didn't hear?
Oh, miss.
All right. So remember, students, on Friday it's not 6. It's not 7 o'clock. Sorry, it's not 7 to 8 on a Friday. It's 4:30 to 6. But I did send a link also. I did send a link. And if you want to be a part of the group, the WhatsApp group where I send the link, you can send me send me a message. Send your number. I'll add it to the WhatsApp group. If you're in studio, you can send me a private message and I'll add your number to the WhatsApp group, because I have a group where I send out reminders when we have started. I send out a reminder that we're now live, so you can join, whether you're going to join in studio or you're going to join in the regular chat. All right, and all are welcome. Once there is space, you're welcome to join us. I noticed that I'm looking on the screen and what? 3 persons, I can't even see them. I'm just looking at some black boxes. So scholars, if you know you don't want to show your face and if you know you don't want to talk, why do you come into the studio? I think you should leave the space for those who really want to participate and they're not afraid to show, to let others their lovely voices, right? Does it make sense for you to be on the screen and not showing yourself and not talking? That don't make sense to me. And there are so many persons who are waiting and waiting and waiting to come on. So allow them, those who are willing to participate fully. Okay? All right, so I'll see you on Monday.
Bye, everyone. Have a good
Enjoy
weekend.
your weekend, yes, and take care of yourself.
Excuse me.
Sometimes when the live class ends, sometimes I'm like, why couldn't we have Saturday live class?
Don't you want your teacher to get rest, Lejande?
Yes, I do.
Don't you think your
Excuse me,
teacher
miss.
works really hard during the week and she needs to rest on the weekend?
Hush, miss. Hush.
Yeah, I need to rest and do other things.
Okay, miss. Take your summer break off.
Excuse me, miss. Is
Yes.
this like every day or just on Friday and Monday?
On Monday to Thursday, it's 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And on Friday, it's 4:30 to 6 p.m. I'm going to play the schedule in a little bit before we close. But just remember, when you're watching the schedule, remember that we're not following the schedule for next week because we're going to do lots of ability tests. But after the ability test, we're going back to the schedule.
For just this week, miss? For just
Next
the week
week,
after
remember right up until the ability test exam.
Excuse me, miss. Where should I send my number?
You can post it in the chat and I'll add it right now. Post it in this private chat here. Just write a comment and I'm going to add it right now for you. And anybody else who want me to add them?
Miss, everybody on YouTube wanted to add them. They love you.
I know they love me and I appreciate that so much, Legende, and I love them.
Just like me.
Yes, and I love all my scholars and I want to help all of my scholars. All right, so I'm going to add it now. Coleman, I'm going to add you now to that group. All right,
Thank
guys.
you, miss. Thank you, miss. I enjoyed today.
Thank you. And
Me
we
too.
enjoyed having you. We enjoyed having you for the first time. And remember, guys, just make sure to check your mics before you come on, because if I say something to you, if I introduce you, if I say good evening and you're not responding, I'm going to ask you to go back.
And this is not the first time they're meeting. Just want to put that out.
Yes, so we want persons who are ready and willing to participate.
Yes, miss, and new people come on every day.
Yeah, those are the scholars who we want. Those who are ready and they're willing to participate.
Yes, miss.
We don't want, I know that some persons are shy, and they're a little withdrawn and all of that, but That's fine too. Not everybody is outgoing, but the ones who are going to be in the studio and answering the questions, reading the questions, we want them to be sharp and ready. And your mic must be ready. Everything must be ready. Okay. So we're not going to
Yes,
wait
miss.
too long. Yeah, we're not going to wait too long for you to come on. We're going to ask somebody else to take your place. Is that fair, guys? Is that fair?
Yes,
Hmm.
miss. I believe
Yeah,
so.
that's fair, right?
Why?
Because we have to keep the keep the ball rolling, don't? We have to keep the show going.
Miss, you mean keep the heart rolling, the ball.
Excuse me, miss. I don't really know what that means, but I agree.
You don't know what means keep the ball rolling.
I don't know what that means,
Okay,
miss.
so it's an analogy. It's a metaphor that's used. We're comparing the program to you're in a ball game. You don't want the ball to stop. Imagine a football game. You have to keep kicking the ball, keep it rolling. You have to keep the show going. So that's
Oh,
what it
yes, I
means,
get it.
right? We have to keep it moving. All right, so I have a CSEC class going to start right now. So I bid you all farewell and I'll see you on
Bye,
Monday.
miss.
All right,
Bye,
take care.
miss. See you on.
Love you.
I love you too. All right, so here's the schedule of live classes. Make sure to write down these dates and times and which session we do at what time so you don't miss a thing. Hello CSEC math students, I know you are busy preparing for your math tests and your CSEC exams coming up. I have a very important question to ask you. Do you like my new hat? Thank you. Now another important question. Have you ever gotten a math problem wrong simply because of making one little mistake? I'm sure you have, as thousands of other students have. Now in this series, we're going to be looking at the common mistakes that students make with all the topics in CSEC Math. We're going to look at the common errors, demystify everything. Make sure you watch every video in this series so that you can avoid making those mistakes. So stay tuned. Hello CSEC math students, I know you are busy preparing for your math tests and your CSEC exams coming up. I have a very important question to ask you. Do you like my new hat? Thank you. Now another important question. Have you ever gotten a math problem wrong simply because of making one little mistake? I'm sure you have, as thousands of other students have. Now in this series, we're going to be looking at the common mistakes that students make with all the topics in CSEC Math. We're going to look at the common errors, demystify everything. Make sure you watch every video in this series so that you can avoid making those mistakes. So stay tuned. Hello scholars. Did you know that most times when students get problems wrong in mathematics is as a result of one single error or one mistake? Well, this is absolutely true, and we're going to be looking at the common errors that students make in the different topics in mathematics. If we know the errors beforehand, we can certainly avoid making them. Are you ready? Come on, take my hand.